Rick Harrison is in the headlines again after the FBI found this shocking thing inside of his house. For years, Rick Harrison has been a reality TV maestro and one of the most recognized faces in the pop culture business. Known for his sharp judgment and calm, serious attitude on Pawn Stars, Harrison has long represented the image of somebody who knows how to navigate both business and public life with control. But that image has now taken a serious hit. According to developing reports, Harrison has been arrested following an unexpected FBI raid on his Las Vegas residence. The raid was later confirmed by multiple law enforcement sources, which even led to his detainment after he reportedly got into a scuffle with the agents during the search. There's still a halo around what really happened, but what authorities declare to have found in his home is already raising serious concerns, not just for Harrison, but for others who may be connected to him. The operation reportedly began in the early morning hours. Neighbors described a quiet buildup of black SUVs and federal vehicles parked outside Harrison's home. What followed was a rapid entry carried out under a sealed federal warrant. At first, it seemed like just another celebrity scandal unfolding in real time, until reports confirmed that the FBI had not only raided his home, but also arrested Harrison after what sources described as a struggle and non-compliant situation. According to one law enforcement official familiar with the case, Harrison resisted attempts by agents to access specific areas of the property. Tensions escalated, and within minutes, officers had to physically detain him. He was transported to a federal holding facility shortly after the incident. While the full contents of the raid have not been disclosed, a preliminary statement from federal sources painted a stark picture. Investigators reportedly recovered large amounts of unregistered cash, controlled substances, and documents suggesting undisclosed dealings with what will have been described only as well-positioned individuals. No names have been revealed at this time, and so far, no official charges have been announced either, which puts everybody in doubt about what's going to happen next. But insiders close to the investigation say that the documents hint at a broader network of transactions and informal agreements, possibly involving multiple parties outside of Harrison's immediate business circle. If those connections are confirmed, the situation may evolve into something far larger than a single celebrity arrest. Harrison's rise from pawn shop owner to TV personality was built on his deep knowledge of history and his ability to read people. Viewers saw a sharp negotiator, someone who could spot a fake or undervalued item in seconds. But that same instinct, it now seems, may have been operating in other areas of his life too. This isn't the first time questions have been raised about Pawn Stars' off-camera dealings. Previous stories hinted at behind-the-scenes business transactions, asset controversies, and legal complications involving Harrison and his shop. Most of those stories, however, never gained traction. They were small, dismissed as part of doing business in a tough market. This time, however, it's not an internet rumor or anonymous blog. It's a full-scale federal investigation with search teams, forensic analysis, and a sealed case file that, according to one agent, runs deeper than anyone expected. News of the raid spread fast in Las Vegas, where Harrison has operated for decades. The response has been a mix of disbelief and silence. Local business owners who've worked with Harrison expressed shock. One longtime associate said, "Whatever's going on, it's hard to believe Rick would let it go this far. But you never know what's happening behind closed doors." Harrison's family has not issued any public statement. Corey Harrison, Rick's son and frequent Pawn Stars co-star, was seen leaving a law office just hours after the arrest, but has avoided reporters since. A representative for the History Channel, which airs Pawn Stars, declined to comment on the case. Harrison's legal team has confirmed that he's being held in federal custody and is expected to appear in court within the next few days. In a brief statement, they claimed the raid was an overreach and that Harrison has cooperated fully in the past with regulatory authorities. They maintain that the situation will clear itself up once the facts are revealed. Federal officials, however, appear to be taking a different view. Though no formal charges have been announced, multiple legal analysts have suggested that the presence of unregistered cash and substances could lead to a variety of charges, from tax evasion to possession and intent to distribute, depending on the quantities involved and what the investigation uncovers from the documents retrieved. Notably, the possible involvement of high-profile individuals named in those documents is now a key focus of ongoing federal attention. What makes this case more than a standard celebrity controversy is the nature of what was allegedly found and how they might tie Harrison to larger, more complex dealings. According to one source familiar with the case, some of the documentation found at Harrison's home pointed to private transactions that had never been publicly disclosed, some of which involved what investigators described as non-retail assets with unclear origin. That description, vague as it is, may signal potential movement of high-value goods without proper channels, or even behind-the-scenes trading not in line with licensing laws. It's not yet clear whether these documents pertain to past episodes of Pawn Stars, independent side deals, or personal financial activity. But the fact that federal agents executed a warrant suggests they believe Harrison's dealings weren't simply sloppy, they may have been deliberate. As the story continues to develop, the public response has split. Some have taken to social media to defend Harrison, calling the investigation a witch hunt and criticizing the FBI's involvement. Others have pointed out that the discoveries raise legitimate questions about Harrison's business ethics and whether his celebrity status gave him too much room to operate unchecked. One media commentator summed it up this way: "We've long glamorized the everyman celebrity, the relatable businessman image that Harrison played so well on TV. But reality doesn't always match the brand, and when federal agents get involved, that disconnect can have real consequences." Harrison is currently being held without bail as federal prosecutors assess the situation. While his attorneys are expected to seek a bail hearing within the week, it's not clear whether he'll be granted release, especially if prosecutors argue that he poses a flight risk or if further obstruction is suspected. Investigators are continuing to analyze the materials retrieved from his home, including the digital records, transaction logs, and communications found on Harrison's personal devices. If any of the connections hinted at in the documents are verified, more individuals could be pulled into the case in the coming weeks. Rick Harrison built his brand on knowing the true value of things, of judging what's real, what's fake, and what's worth the risk. But in this unfolding case, it seems that the lines may have blurred, and the risks may now cost more than anyone expected. What began as a quiet investigation has turned into something far more serious, and while many details remain sealed, one thing is clear: the story of Rick Harrison is no longer about deals made in front of TV cameras. It's now about questions that may only be answered in a courtroom.